Hi, Shell Point. This is Jeff Corey, Executive Director of the Legacy Foundation, and I'm joined today by John Talmadge. John is the Deputy Director of the Lee County Economic Development. We have a program coming up May 2nd in the Grand Cypress Room. And John, thanks for being with us today. This is a little update or a little sneak preview of our time together. So tell us a little bit about Lee County Economic Development. What are you folks all about?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, we're about supporting the existing businesses in Lee County and the workforce that they need to continue to thrive and prosper. So the quality of life, the quality of health care, the quality of education, the road system are all things that we're very concerned with, and we have to be mindful of so that businesses can continue to grow and prosper. But we also try to recruit new businesses to the area too. We're always trying to diversify our economy to make sure that we're not just pigeonholed to one sector or another, but we have a nice representation. So today we're actually the 5th most diverse economic county in the state of Florida.
Wow. And you had mentioned that Fort Myers is the fastest growing city in America?
It's the craziest thing in the world. we're the fastest growing city in the country for the second year in a row.
Wow.
The county is in the top 5 fastest growing counties in the country for several years in a row now, where our workforce is, our population is becoming more diverse. We have 2 of the fastest growing millennial zip codes in the country.
Wow.
In the Cape and out by Gateway. So in all different demographic sectors, we continue to grow and to thrive. But to how we do that in a way that doesn't overwhelm, and we all just got through season,
right.
So we know what the traffic's like, but how we do that, and so we're not overwhelming our systems, our infrastructure is really one of our big challenges.
Is this something that you see continuing for the near future, the extended future?
I hope so. I mean, it's our turn. I keep asking site selectors, well, why Lee County or why now? And they said, well, there's 3 things that every great city or urban area has. It has a 6-lane highway, has an international airport, it has a university, and if you map those in Florida, you still have affordable land. So those are really the principal inputs that we are supported by. But we're also halfway between Tampa and Miami. So within a 2-hour drive, you're within 8 million people. Wow. Within a 3-hour drive, you throw in Orlando, you're within 14 million people. But we're also seeing a growth in technology firms. But we're very proud of some of our large headquarter relocations. I mean, Hertz continues to stabilize and to grow. Gartner is continuing their expansions. They've just opened up a new building out in Skyplex, our business park at the airport. We're going to be announcing 2 new corporate headquarter relocations from other parts of the country to the area. We're expecting about 10,000 jobs to eventually locate just in that business corridor.
Wow. So how do we find, as a local community, how do we find a qualified workforce? How do we find qualified people to work for us? I mean, I know even here at Shell Point, we have over 1,000 employees now, and there's a lot more competition for everything for those great employees. So what does Lee County do to train and recruit the best workers?
It's our biggest challenge today. I mean, our problem isn't the businesses, it's the job openings and filling them. So the state's unemployment rate's at 3.3% right now. Wow. The county's unemployment is at 3.1. The city's unemployment is at 2.8. So what we really have to do now is begin to engage those harder to employ populations, whether it's people with low-level convictions or things like that who have not typically been in the workforce recently, and help find the jobs that they can be employed for or trained for. It also is an opportunity for us to begin to look at our senior citizens and folks who are who still want to work but may have aged out of a career or something like that, and find opportunities to put them in the right position for, that supports their lifestyle. So those are constant things that we're working with, but we're also recruiting 25,000 people a year move to Lee County.
Wow.
And probably half of those are people here for a job as opposed for other lifestyle reasons.
So I would assume that with the growth there comes challenges. What are some of the challenges that keep you awake at night? I mean, besides the roads and traffic, what other things are?
Well, those are principal ones.
Right.
The way Lee County has 2 big challenges right now. Of any county in the state of Florida, we have the longest distance commute times. So our workforce lives in Lehigh Acres, it lives in Cape Coral, lives on the other side of the river in North Fort Myers, and the jobs are here in South Lee, Bonita, Estero. So if you've seen what Colonial looks like in the morning or the afternoons, or Corkscrew and Gladiolus and those roads, you can see that confluence of people crossing the river or coming from Lehigh and try to get south, and then back versa. So, in those areas, they're bound by conservation lands, they're bound by San Carlos Bay, they're bound by 2020 lands. So there's a bottleneck. So that's one of our biggest challenges, is making sure that the job centers really do, the new ones, get located closer to the residential centers, and then it's maintaining the affordability of our housing stock closer to the job centers today. So where can you find workforce housing or attainable housing in Estero or Bonito that can support a family?
Right.
So it's those confluences. It's the Board of Education. They continue to do well, but they're having to build almost a school a year. And so the half penny of sales tax that we were able to vote pass this year, that's going to be quickly spent on the capital budget. How do we find those teachers for that workforce? And so when I really look at, a lot of the private sector can find their workforce, they'll find their way through it. But the Board of Education, Lee Health, we really have to be mindful, because those are critical care. As you know, if we don't have the nurses and we don't have the teachers, then it's really hard to support the doctors and the professions that we need to train for.
Sure. So do you work with Lee Health and other nonprofits as well? And I mean, I know there's a shortage of, seems like, if you go to the emergency room, you wait hours to get in to see a doctor and that sort of thing. So do you work in broader places instead of just government and business?
Absolutely. I mean, we were having constant conversations about community paramedicine and how do we keep people out of the emergency room so they can collect their vital signs at home. How can we repurpose our EMS or our firefighters to have other types of more community response rather than just emergency response? The new wheelchair of the future will be a smart wheelchair where you'll be able to sit there and watch TV, and while your doctor monitors your vital signs from his office, 6 miles away. That wheelchair is going to be produced here in Lee County. So how we can combine our commitment to quality health care with job production in medical manufacturing device, whatnot. Arthrax is another good example. So those are how we're trying to bring all these things together. But at the end of the day, what I need for my business community, what I need for my workforce is a good Board of Education. That the school system, whether it's the private or the public, that's my training and my workforce of the future. Healthcare, whether it's Lee Health or others, they're keeping my workforce healthy for the future.
Right.
And so I just need to have the housing and some of the amenities to go with that, and then we'll have it all.
So our seminar on May 2nd, you're going to be sharing, I think, some of the trends and the future forecasts, what we can expect, what our Shell Point residents can expect here in Lee County.
I am, and I plan to go into some detail on what parts of the county are doing what. What does a Lehigh Acres look like in the future? What does the North Cape Coral look like in the future? And so that's not just one county, but it's a bunch of different communities.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you for being with us here today. And residents, you're going to want to come to our program on May 2nd. John Talmadge from Lee County Economic Development will be here sharing lots of great information that I think you'll find very fascinating. So join us. We'll look forward to seeing you May 2nd at the Grand Cypress Room, 10 a.m.